Hey, does Sunrise on the Reaping feel like a nonfiction book? You found your people. Welcome to the third annual States Against Humanity March Madness Tournament, the tournament where we, a group of sad, frustrated, distressed individuals on the internet, come together to determine the worst state for humanity in a dystopian celebration of these dark, dark times. I'm Casey, the tournament host, here in a bid to distract myself from the dismantling of the Department of Education. Tonight is the kickoff event, the very first matchup. We're going to be looking at Texas and Ohio, a number 1 and a number 4 seed, respectively, and they are in the Reagan's Resurrection Division. The topic was already drawn, and that is, somehow, reproductive rights. If there's anything that I've learned about the news stories surrounding reproductive health in both Texas and Ohio these past 14 months, it's that these people will not shut up. No matter what you do. Ohioans are like, you want to take our reproductive health care? Bet we're gonna enshrine our rights in the Constitution. Ohio Republicans are first, they're gonna try to pretend like that amendment doesn't even count. They're gonna first pretend like they can just ignore that. And when that doesn't work, because the judges keep citing the Reproductive Rights Amendment, all of these little advocacy groups, these anti-abortion advocacy groups, are going to keep popping up, and they're going to cite the most ridiculous reasons as to why they should impinge upon your reproductive health care rights. Because did someone with a straight face try to argue that their parental rights are being violated because they don't get to micromanage their child's reproductive health care? What? Didn't y'all just spend the last few years screaming at us about how parents shouldn't get to make healthcare decisions about their children, specifically in gender-affirming care cases, but now suddenly y'all want to be involved? That's interesting. You're going to see a common theme between Texas and Ohio and many other Republican states, and it's that if the law can't function as narrowly as they would like it to, they're going to come for everything they possibly can to prevent people from getting reproductive health care. And that, right now, is through telehealth, because they don't like the fact that the citizens of their rural states can access health care from liberal doctors in liberal states, or that these liberal doctors can prescribe abortion pills and mail them to their residents in rural states where abortion is illegal, as was the case with a New York doctor, Dr. Carpenter, who Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton was like, well, if you're going to prescribe pills, we're going to sue you in civil court. And so that's what the Senate in Texas is trying to do. They've got a Senate Bill 2880 that specifically targets the distributors of the abortion pills, even the companies that process the payments online. These are like technology companies that have nothing to do with healthcare. They're like, bro, I'm just here to take the visa payments and call it a day. But more importantly, this bill, if passed, would allow the biological parent, father, to sue the mother if she terminated the pregnancy without his consent. If they can't completely prevent you from seeking reproductive health care, they're going to take away every last bit of autonomy that you have over that. And they're going to do it in the civil courts. So by the by, the Texas state senator that brought up this bill is Brian Hughes. He authored this bill. All of his contact information, if you want to write to him and tell him why Senate Bill 2880 is such a problem and that no one supports it and they should just go away and stop doing this. Also, peep the fact that this was an uncontested election, so not a single Democrat ran against this man. But that's not the only bill Texas is bringing to try to further curb your rights to reproductive health care. They're also bringing 2 other bills, 3 in total, that will restrict access to the abortion medication, mifepristone and mifepristol. They're trying to reclassify abortion drugs as controlled substances, which would dramatically reduce their transmission and increase the authority that the Texas government has over their dispensary. Now, this really matters because the Texas law does not provide any exemption for rape or incest. So many minors utilize that telehealth I was talking about, while many other victims will utilize the abortion pill. Republicans know this, and they know this because abortions have actually gone up since Roe v. Wade was overturned. House Bill 1339, authored by State Representative Bill Curry, Pat Curry. Here he is. This bill was modeled after a Louisiana bill, and it would make it difficult for doctors to conduct a variety of gynecological treatments for women. So here's how you can get a hold of Texas Representative Pat Curry. You can screenshot it and just zoom right in, or I'll put it in my Blue Sky thread. For their part, Ohio Democrats have not lost their sense of humor because they introduced a conception begins an erection bill because somehow it's less absurd than all of the Republican legislation that we're seeing all around the country. And who doesn't love a nod to our favorite Legally Blonde? This was a tough matchup for Ohio. Texas is a pretty strong first seed, but you know what? This is a democratic process, so I want to put the poll right here, and you can click there. I'll also make a Google form, and I will put that in the comments as well. So if it's more convenient, you can also find it in my bio. And I'll see you for our next matchup, which is Oklahoma versus Louisiana, where we will discuss environmental stories from their states over the past 14 months. Bye.